The other day in my live call with my members, a member asked this question: how do I recognize my emotions when I feel blank? I don't see where I fit on the emotions wheel. Now, most people know that naming an emotion is the first step to working through it. But what if you just feel empty? Like you just can't cry, or maybe you feel flat, or numb, or shut down, or even dead inside. Now, this can be confusing and scary, but it's actually your body's natural survival response. So in this video, we'll talk about why people feel numb, and more importantly, 5 things you can do to help you start feeling again. Emotional numbness is a common experience, and here's what it can look like. Feeling flat, both physically and emotionally. Losing motivation or interest in things that once brought you joy. Not feeling happiness, but not even feeling sadness either. Feeling detached, like you're watching your life happen from the outside. Now, if you relate to any of that, I would say you're not broken. You're experiencing a nervous system response. But a response to what? Like, why do we go numb? Now, I had my guesses about why my member was feeling this way when I saw that he had submitted a second question. This is what he said. I experienced a traumatic event that has turned my life upside down the last 4 or 5 months. I'm struggling with not being able to connect with my body, where I'm just numb emotionally and physically. Like, boom, there it is. Numbness is often a response to overwhelming stress or trauma. It's one of the hallmark symptoms of PTSD. So let's talk about the stages our nervous system goes through when it experiences a threat. When your nervous system senses danger, it goes through 3 steps to keep you safe. First, it scans for help to support or protect you. Then it can activate the fight or flight. But if you can't fight off the problem or escape your attacker, or if you've tried to overcome the problem so many times and it just never seems to work, your body may go into the 3rd state. This is the dorsal vagal response, also known as freeze or shut down. That's when people describe feeling numb, detached, spaced out, or empty. Now, animals do this all the time. Freezing and going numb protects them from being seen, from making noise, from feeling pain, and that can help them survive a threat from a bigger, stronger aggressor. Numbing is a protective response, and humans do it too. It's important to remember going numb isn't something you consciously chose to do. Your nervous system made the decision. So why do people go numb? There's a few common reasons. Overwhelm or trauma is one of the biggest ones. When emotions are too big, the brain protects you by disconnecting. Grief or loss. People often expect grief to show up as a lot of tears or sadness or anger, but it's also very, very common that they're just feeling flat or like they're not feeling anything. Chronic stress and burnout. Constant stress floods your body with stress hormones, and eventually this depletes your ability to get activated. Some people call this adrenal fatigue, but really you've just depleted all your resources and your nervous system is tired of trying, so it numbs out. Depression is another common cause. This often brings flatness, where both joy and sadness feel out of reach. Also, going numb is a learned survival strategy. If showing emotions wasn't safe as a child, you may have learned to shut them off. Now, more on that last one in a moment, but I do need to add that sometimes numbness is linked to biological or medical issues, including mental health conditions like schizophrenia, borderline, or bipolar disorder. Exhaustion and chronic illness can also leave you feeling flat, and so can medication side effects. So if you suspect that that's the case, it's worth talking with a doctor. But for many, numbness is the nervous system's way of saying, that was too much, I'm protecting you now. Okay, so back to learned habits. Sometimes numbness and dissociation was a coping skill that we learned as kids to deal with a situation that was scary or painful and we couldn't leave. Maybe there was abuse you couldn't escape. Or if your parent constantly criticized you and nothing you did was ever good enough, your 12-year-old self probably responded with, "Fine, I don't care." Now, over time, pretending not to care became real, and numbing turned into a habit. We learned to numb ourselves to escape some of that pain. And then numbing becomes a habitual defense mechanism. Now, as a child, it's the best you can do, but as an adult, you come to depend on this skill long after danger is gone. So what started as protection morphs into alcoholism, or workaholism, or screen addiction, or dissociation. So as we rely on it more and more, it becomes less and less functional. The good news is that if you learned it, you can unlearn it. So let's talk about how. Now, when we feel numb, we often try 2 things that backfire. Either we try to force ourselves to feel something, or we try to think our way out of it. Trying to force it is actually adding stress to the system. It pushes us further into the dorsal vagal response. And trying to think our way out of it is a form of intellectualization. It's another subtle attempt to avoid our actual feelings by getting up in our heads. So here's 5 things that actually work. The first step isn't to fight numbness, but to notice it with curiosity and kindness. So instead of demanding that you feel something, approach numbness like a scientist exploring something new. Ask yourself, where do I feel numbness in my body? What does numbness feel like? Now, this came up in an interview I did with mindfulness expert Thomas McConkey, and I like how he explains it.
To learn to attune to that kind of a numbness, a nothingness, like I don't feel anything. Not feeling anything is another kind of feeling. And if we learn to stay with I don't really feel anything, we're surprised that, wow, there are like 20 layers to that I don't really feel anything. We get deeper and deeper into our actual experience, and it yields amazing insight.
Remind yourself that today is a beautiful day to feel whatever you're feeling or not feeling right now. It's a day to allow yourself to be where you're at, not forcing it, but just being present to your experience right now. And this can tell your nervous system that you are capable. It can nudge you up the ladder toward internal safety. Now, because numbness is a nervous system state, not a thinking problem, we need body-based approaches. So the way through numbness isn't to force yourself to just feel, but to gently reawaken your nervous system. So here's a few things you could try. Grounding with your senses. I think a lot of people are familiar with this, but you touch something with texture. You notice a color around you, or you put on some music and you listen to it. Your senses can help you re-anchor to the present moment. Peter Levine teaches a simple exercise in his book, Healing Trauma. So you go into the shower and you allow the water to hit various parts of your body and let yourself mindfully feel it. It might hit your hand and you look at it and you notice how it feels to have the water hit your hand. Then have it hit your arm and you allow it and notice how it feels. So we can practice connecting with our emotions through our body's sensations. Okay, next, movement is medicine. So try walking, stretching, or shaking out your hands. Research shows that exercise is one of the most powerful treatments for depression. It helps us move back up the polyvagal ladder into a sense of safety. Okay, number 3, restore your sense of safety. When we feel safe, our nervous system naturally climbs back out of shutdown. So look around the room, move your head, move your eyes. Notice that here in this moment, I am safe enough. Remind yourself, I have people who will support me. One of the most direct ways to restore a sense of safety is being in physical contact or eye contact with a caring person or even a pet. You don't even have to talk about it, though that's not terrible either. You could do some of the restoring safety exercises from my free grounding skills course, and I'll put a link in the description. You could do a safe place visualization, you could turn on your safe playlist, or pull out your safe cues sensory kit. If you're exhausted, burnt out, or overwhelmed, you probably need a little break to create safety from whatever's draining you. So ask yourself, what can you do to get some rest? Safety isn't just about your environment. It's the message your nervous system receives that says, I can handle this. Okay, number 4, ask what's behind the numbness. So behind numbness, there's often a huge emotion. Numb is a protector. It's desperately trying to protect you from a feeling. If we imagine this protector, it might be saying, I'm afraid little Emma can't handle feeling so much sadness or grief or anger or pain. So how can you respond to your protector part? Can you show compassion to your numbness? Maybe speak to it. Thank you, numbness, for trying to protect me. Ask your numbness, what are you trying to protect me from? Or ask it, what would you like to tell me? You could reassure your numbness part from a place of self. You could say, I'm not a little kid anymore. Thank you so much for what you, numbness, have been trying to do to protect me. You could also ask it, like, would you be willing to step aside so that I can see what's behind you? Now, sometimes numbness may be willing to step aside and let you glimpse what's underneath. Other times it won't, and that's okay. And again, this work might be best done with a therapist. When numbing and dissociation become really chronic, removing our internal defense mechanisms can sometimes leave us overwhelmed with big traumas that we'll do a lot better with support as we work through them. Okay, number 5, act it out. When you're numb or dissociated, it can be really helpful to dramatize the emotion that you're not feeling. Now, I know this sounds maybe a little counterintuitive, but hang with me here. There are a few steps to this. So even if you can't feel or name an emotion, you probably know deep down what's behind your numbness. If an observer of your life were to guess, what might they say instigated it? You don't have to force an answer. Forcing it pushes us down into the dorsal vagal response. But a guess might be helpful for this next step. So, for example, if someone close to you recently passed away and you're feeling numb, let's guess that under the numbness you're feeling grief or anger around that. So now imagine how someone who lost a loved one would feel and describe that in writing. And I do mean describe. Don't just say this person would feel sad. Write it like a character scene. Describe the sobs, the inability to speak, the stomachache, squeezing the eyes, hugging a pillow, so on, so on. You could watch a video or read a story of someone going through the same kind of trauma that you've been through. Okay, so this last part, that I just described, might sound so awkward that you don't want to try it. But if you feel safe enough and resourced enough, I do encourage you to try to act out those emotions you imagined. You could yell or shake or fake some crying. You could pretend you're an actor on stage feeling a character's emotions and then act them out. Okay, so there's 5 options for working through emotional numbness. Recognize that it's your body's protective response to overwhelming feelings. Treat numbness with curiosity and compassion. Restore your sense of safety. Connect with your body. And with movement, dramatize the emotion you're missing. With each of these 5 ways to respond to numbness or dissociation, you're recognizing that your nervous system is just trying to protect you from something. And if you feel supported and well-resourced, you can figure out what that scary something is and start to heal it by responding to it in healthy ways that counteract the numbness. Okay, I hope this has been helpful and even hopeful for you, that you can restore your ability to feel sensation in your body and experience a wide range of emotions. You don't have to force it at all, but by taking small steps, you can work through it. I'm working on a whole series about embodiment and emotional regulation after trauma, so if this resonated, you can learn more by checking out that playlist. Or if you're ready to dive deep into the skills to improve your mental health, check out my membership. I've got 10 courses on everything from how to regulate your nervous system to how to process emotions and work through trauma. 98% of people who took my courses said that it helped them improve their mental health. Check it out, links in the description. And if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, could you please leave a comment or a thumbs up? This tells the algorithm to show this video to more people who could benefit from it. Okay, thank you so much for being here, and please take care.